Welcome to I May Be Wrong.
I don't know what this world is coming to,
but I don't think so. We're broadcasting from the greater Nashville area, the home of country music, beyond the borders of political correctness and identity politics. Facts and faith are our demarcations. Truth lights our path.
Here's the Barry White of Podcast Radio,
the venerable Alfonso Ashworth.
Well, welcome to another exciting episode of I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so. We got a great program lined up for you. Got an exciting guest lined up and waiting in the queue. This is a very, very serious topic that we're going to be covering today. It's something that is near and dear to my heart. It's something that I believe is at the forefront of many of our issues when it comes to family, when it comes to dealing with family, when it comes to dealing with the breakup of many families, why the fathers are not involved in the family. This issue is at the top of the list. And many of the pundits, many in the media, they don't want to discuss it. They don't want to touch it. And this is why I started a program named I May Be Wrong, but I don't think so. We're independent of these networks. We can say what we need to say. We can do it in the fashion we need to do it in, and we don't have to worry about going to Facebook jail. That's something I'm not concerned about. That's why I have this guest coming on. But before we get started, I want to let you know you can join us on the show every week, every Wednesday, 8 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, the post out on the West Coast. Of course, you can join us in the Central Time at 10 a.m. And then on the East Coast, of course, you can join us at 11 a.m. every Wednesday. We hope to expand this program. We're looking forward to expanding the program at some point. We're hoping that, of course, you can help us do that. You can go to the website, I may be wrong, but I don't think so.com. If you want to become a subscriber, become a contributor, you can do that right from the website. We have a lot of things happening. We got a great poll that we started on the website. It asked the question, do you believe that hell exists? It's that simple. Yes or no. You can go on the website. You can vote. And if you want to say other, there's another comment section on there. You can say something else. But right now, it's going heavily weighted toward people believe there is a hell. If they believe there is a hell, they're going to believe then that what we're going to talk about today is very important and has a lot to do with what's happening. Listen to this. When it comes to the facts about abortion, there's a lot of information that's out there that people are not getting. Like, since Roe v. Wade was established in 1973, there has been over 60 million aborted infants in this country. And I'm not talking about the world. I'm talking about just this country alone. There has been over 60 million aborted babies. In some districts of New York, there have been more minority babies that have been aborted than have been born. That's a fact. And many people don't want to face those facts. They don't want to come to face with those types of facts. That we've aborted 60 million citizen babies in this nation since the establishment of Roe v. Wade. Of course, there's a lot of things that people also don't want to talk about. Post-aborted dads. And the guest that I have in the queue, we're going to talk about this in a frank and in a serious way. But Pastor Bruce E. Rivers is the senior pastor of Mount Moriah First Baptist Church in Dos Palos, California. He is sought after for a speaker on issues, of course, with Black fatherhood aborted. That's one way that you can find out more about him. We're going to bring him on. Welcome to the show, our brother, Pastor Bruce E. Rivers. How you doing, sir?
Man, well, you know what? We're out here in what we call the Big Valley in Cali. Just,
okay.
That's my name. I'm so blessed to be with join you this morning out here. And so if you don't know where that is, you remember the TV show, The Big Valley?
Oh, yes, sir. Hoss. No, we're thinking about
That's Bonanza.
yeah, that was Bonanza. Oh
Yeah.
wow, we
I'm
going
talking
way
about the
back.
Barclays.
Yeah, the Barclays.
He's Jared and Nick. You know
Yeah,
them
yeah.
rebel rousers and Miss Audra and of course Miss Barbara Stanwyck.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
Mother Barkley. They controlled a whole lot of land. Uh, we like to call it down somewhere between Sacramento and Bakersfield,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a huge valley in California, 350 miles long, 50 miles wide, between two mountain ranges, Sierra and the El Diablo, the Devil Mountains.
Right.
And they controlled a lot of land, and they were cattle barons and all that kind of stuff. They
Mm-hmm.
probably had gold, they had a big house, but you know, we grew up watching that show. Never would have thunk I'd be actually living over here in this valley. I grew up on the coast in Monterey,
Right.
over the hill, but now here we are, smack dab. Our good friend Lonnie likes to call it. He said, if you come to California and look at the map, and you'll see almost the belly button of California. We're almost geographically the center of California in that area. So
Well, of
that's
course,
where we are.
yeah, and there's a lot happening in California. And
Oh my
of course,
God.
this is a 30-minute program, so we can't cover it all.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
of
yeah.
course, the reason that I thought of you as a guest, not only have I heard you on Lonnie's show, Lion Chasers Radio, many times, and I've been on that show as well.
Yep.
And we've had a lot of discussions about this issue. And of course, we get a lot of pushback as well. This issue about abortion and family and fathers and post-aborted fathers, how are you directly connected? Tell the audience, one, what is it you're doing and why is it so important at this time?
Well, it's important at this time because, especially in our community, we in our community. I'm talking about people that got our shade or hue, as Lonnie would say. Want to use? I like his little euphemisms and things. We talk about this all the time because we did grow up together. So I pick up on what he says, and sometimes he picks up on what I says. Amen. But he's the man.
Right.
But we have. I'm a post-abortive father. First of all of my heirs and children were eliminated from this life, starting in 77, 76. The second one from the same girl. Then after that ended, then I got another young lady pregnant with twins, and 83, and then another one in 85. So those children that should be here with my name are resting in glory.
Right.
And took a minute for me to understand that I suffered from something we call male post-abortion trauma. I encourage the listeners to Google that. There's not a whole lot of writing about what we suffer as men. Now, there's some other programs you can go to, but today, just for the benefit of being on your show, the black man, I think we got some differing numbers on how many babies are aborted every day in the black community, somewhere around 1,800 at one note. Not all at Planned Parenthood, but at places like Planned Parenthood. And so that means, Al, when you just think about it, this is just a number I want to put out. If it's 1,800 black babies aborted every day in this
Every
nation,
day.
that means there's 1,800 fathers, or some number of fathers.
Right.
Because there might be some twins, might be some singles or whatnot. But there's a potential for 1,800 black men that are pushed into a traumatic situation of not having their children be born.
Right.
And that day, maybe it may not hit you that day. It's like it's like a car wreck. You get in a car wreck and you come out unscathed, or so you think. And then 2 or 3 days later, bruises show up. 2 or 3 days later, your back starts to hurt, your neck starts to hurt from being lurched around. Well, after 5 children being taken away, it literally wasn't until 2007 in my life that I realized I'd been lurched around. I guess, man, thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm a preacher. I tell people, when you invite me to the party, you got to let me dance. So as things come to me while we're talking, I'll share them just that way.
Right.
It was divine intervention through, once again, Lonnie Poindexter. I met a young lady named Star Parker, and she hired me as her community affairs director. And I flew out to Washington, D.C. with her. And oh my goodness, she sent me to the Watchman on the Wall conference. And I began to meet people. And I sat with her as a panel guest at my best friend, my brother's church, Pastor Herb Luss. Sat with her on a panel. And Dr. Alveda King, Luke Robinson, and a few other people, they told their story. And that day, I realized how I had not done what God had commissioned, be fruitful and multiply, or take care of my own part of the world that God had given me authority and dominion over.
Amen.
And I literally bolted from the stage, and I've been on this quest since then. Number one, to put some books together, one called No More Rivers, End of the Line. I'm the last rivers in my bloodline. And then it became a booklet to talk about the up-to-date statistics, and called My Story, Black Fatherhood Aborted.
Right.
And that's been the healing process.
Yeah. And Pastor, I want to stop you just for a second, because you hit on something. When you said it ended your lineage, it ended your bloodline. That sort of sticks in my soul when you think about it in that way, that God had given you a purpose, and because of our own flesh and our own sinful nature, and because of the wickedness that we see in abortion, you've been robbed of that lineage. And so I want you to sort of maybe talk about that a little bit in a personal way. What does that mean for someone? And I'm not going to say, I don't know how old you are. And
I ain't got no problem. I'll tell you.
Yeah, go ahead. But how do you feel about that?
Well, and at this stage of my life, I'm 64 years old. I found out at the age of 52 that unless God did something else with my beautiful wife and me, I had no children. There were actually no more rivers.
Okay.
That's the book title, and it's like, I was like, oh my God, I have no grandchildren, no everything was crazy.
No heirs.
I grew up with all my friends' kids around me.
Right.
Matter of fact, my nickname and title was Uncle Teddy Bear.
Okay.
And so even to this day, here I am, 64 years old. I have children that are in their 30s and 40s. When they see me, they're still Uncle Teddy Bear. It ain't necessarily Pastor Bruce. It ain't necessarily Uncle Bruce. It's Uncle Teddy Bear. Growing up in Seaside. And I've got thousands, literally thousands of offspring in the spiritual sense.
Right.
But in the physical, biological sense that God gave us, as you stated already, that's gone. Unless God would do one of them miraculous conception things on me and my wife.
Right.
It's there. Now, she has children, of course, and another girlfriend prior to that had children. So I grew up with kids in my life every day. I was a town DJ.
Right.
So all the little kid parties I did in Seaside, California, over from 1967, basically. So I became a DJ at and this was a kid at the little youth center we had in Seaside.
Right. Well, what does this mean in essence for society, especially the Black community? As you said, those with our paint job. What does that mean when we say we were robbed of that lineage, or that opportunity to continue on the namesake? What does that mean in numbers? Because I think a lot of our audience does not realize that our community is in decline, largely because of abortion. Of course, there's other contributing factors, but it's largely because of the number of abortions. What does that mean for the future of this nation and our community?
Brother Al, there are statistical facts and stories. You know, if I took you to just the 50s, the 1850s, our median fertility rate for black women was 7.9 children per black woman. We are now here, 100 plus some years later, we are now at 2.8, I believe, or 2.3.
Right.
So by 2050, if we keep on the place where we're going, killing our offspring, taking them to the well, to the Baal worship, passing them through the fire,
Right.
as we say, we will be literally past the point of no return.
And that number,
recreating a black race.
That number is like 1.2.
1.2, right.
Once you reach 1.2, they say it is statistically impossible for that group to survive.
Yes. Now, people say that abortions are down. They are. My brother, my pastor, Herb Lust, he has a pregnancy center in Philadelphia. I speak at pregnancy centers.
Yes.
Alpha Pregnancy here around. That's what me and my wife actually have become a pro-life speaking team.
Right.
And we will be in New York in October at our first foray as speakers, other than the marches and things we've done together. Walk for Life West Coast, Pastor Walter Hoy's Foundation, Issues for Life Foundation. We've done 2 marches in New York and Albany, but trying to help us who are missing. We're missing not only our children, we're missing at the forefront of this fight. And I believe it's God ordained. You know, I believe God has positioned us to tell this story and not be worried about what the adversary. And I can't blame everybody. I can put a little blame on one woman who had a Hitler manifesto. Her name was Margaret Sanger.
Yes.
And
Someone mentioned her in the chat room. Go ahead.
Yeah, Margaret Sanger. And matter of fact, a good book to read if you haven't read all of her stuff, and a good website to visit is the book is called The Negro Project by Bruce Fleury. He did a great job and dealing with her and some of her chapters, man. Great ammunition. Hopefully my stuff will be great ammunition. Also, Pastor Clenard Children's BlackGenocide.org, who I work with, I'll be with next month in New Jersey, Philadelphia, Maryland, and D.C. We do 4 cities a year. We march and talk in. So you can always go to, I got a couple of websites, but the newest one I've been dealing with is called Urban Pastors Ending Abortion. It's a Facebook page, not a website. Urban Pastors Ending Abortion. Go there, share it with it, like it. It's getting a lot of traction to help people have up-to-date facts, have people have up-to-date organizations going on, National Black Pro-Life, and there are hundreds of us trying to dispel the myth. And the generals that are out there, Dr. Alveda King, as you heard me say, Star
Right.
Parker, Lonnie, of course, you.
Yeah.
It's a groundswell of information, but we have a blockage. We have this attitude that some of us believe we're not telling the truth. People of our hue, because they've been bamboozled. There's an old word we haven't used in a while.
Right.
To believe that it's just a bunch of hogwash of what we're saying. You know, we wouldn't kill our own children. Yes, we would, even with the help of them that tried to sterilize us, the Tuskegee Institute situation.
Right.
And it became easy. And then Margaret positioned herself with W.B. Du Bois, Mary McLeod Bethune, our black leaders, in the black community during those times, the 30s, were our pastors and our leaders. So the men have brought this thing to the community. And it's going to be the men of God that are led by God, guided by the Holy Spirit, to stand up tall and say, no more. We've got to eliminate this blight from our own community. And I'm honored to be chosen for one of those. I'm like I say, I'm just a little kid from the seaside, from the Monterey Bay Area, and now all of a sudden I'm thrust into this thing. I don't enjoy it, but I enjoy the fact that truth is being told. And another form being here on your show, Al, I'm excited. There are thousands of us, but sometimes people want to act like we're not there. And
Yes.
it does look like that in
Well,
San
that's
Francisco.
why I made this issue part of the
Hmm.
program,
Hmm.
considering that, if we don't stand now, it's
Mm.
going to get to a point where it's going to be too late.
Hmm.
And it's now getting to the point to where, especially in the black community, we've been marginalized. And those voices that are out there, like yours and Lonnie
Hmm.
and Dr. Hoyt and many, many others, Alveda King and Star Parker, I could go on and on down that list.
Hmm.
They're being put aside because they're being told, well, you're a traitor, you're a
Yeah,
sellout,
exactly.
you're an Uncle Tom. You
Hmm.
don't care about your race. You hate the black community. And we're getting that from the church. It's
Mm.
coming from within the church. How,
Hmm.
as a pastor of a church, a head pastor, or the lead pastor
Hmm.
of a church community, how do you deal with that issue within your ranks? How do you combat this within your own ranks?
Al, we've been fooled so effectively. I'm a church pastor. It's a small church in the Central Valley, but it's one of the oldest churches here, predominantly black church. And and I grew up in that in those two words, predominant black or all black. This church was the first black church in this part of the valley, and then they birthed two other churches and a granddaughter church. Well, and nowadays our younger people, hey, they're doing once again. We like I did my share of partying, believe me,
Right.
but we're doing more partying. If you go to the social media thing, I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and I remember when they came out with the My Brother's Keeper program,
Right.
along with, and they partnered with our former president and whatnot. Well, now I'm not. People. I'll get pushback even saying this. People are here to be a Sigma. The first thing they'll be asking about is, well, is he financial? Why is he talking about Sigma? That's just like the same thing. As a pastor, I get blowback because people want to put President Trump in my front mirror and my rear view mirror,
Okay.
even though I was pro-life before he got into this program.
Exactly. Exactly. And I can testify to that
Yeah,
because
amen.
we've had this discussion many, many times on air
Yeah,
and off
yeah,
air. And you
yeah.
were right there on the front lines with
Hmm.
many, many others that have come forth, not only sharing your story, but
Hmm.
sharing what you're doing now. You got a couple of
Hmm.
minutes. Tell the audience what they can do to help you and others fight this battle.
Well, it's like I'm building up my donor base, of course,
Yes.
to get to different places to be. There's a lot of rallies and campaigns, and of course, in our community, we don't support things like they do. I get my support through friends and here locally and around the world,
Right.
literally that donate to what me and my wife do, and we just get to the point now where, like I say, the people we're going to see in New York, they picked up the tab to bring us there.
Right.
Put us in a hotel one night. It's not a whole lot of things. And it's not about a get rich quick situation.
No.
This story must be told. It must be told, and those of us that share the story, the donor base, it's there. People, I get phone call, Pastor, how can we help? How can we help? But first and foremost, the help is in my local community, and people have walked away. It does hurt. We said I could, when God puts something in you to do it, you can say, well, Lord, that's going to be tough because they're looking at one thing and not looking at the picture that you said. Yeah, I knew you. I formed you in your mother's womb. So life
Yes.
begins with you. And we hear that verse and we overlook it because of the guy that's in the White House. Donald Trump's not my savior. He's not my pastor. He's just another man
He's just the
that came along
president.
beside me
Right.
and is walking with me, haven't met the man. I've been accused of being paid by the Republican Party. I became a Republican in 1983. And sometimes even saying that, people say, what? And that's what happened in 2016. Over half of the members of the church walked away.
Right. Because
the
word Republican. Because of the word Republican.
And or Trump. And you can tell him all day long, well, he was a Democrat before he was a Republican, just like me.
Right.
And I began to read for myself, and myself found out these people were pulling the wool over our eyes for a long time.
Yes.
And I'm not mad at them. There's plenty of pro-life Democrats and biblically correct Democrats in Washington, but I found out that when they all get together, they sit in the same rooms and they laugh and joke until the cameras come on.
Right.
And then because they want job security.
That's exactly it.
That's all it is, man. I mean, if you don't know also, I did have a stint in prison. I found out how can 700 people keep 7,000 people in one place in check? Well, they allow certain things to pit them against each other so they don't worry about the guards.
And I tell you, that's definitely another program, and I would love to cover that ground because you've got a background, if I'm not mistaken. You were in that radical mode for some time. And I would love to share that story as well with our audience on another show. But of course, you got a minute. Go ahead and just sort of tie things up and tell them how they can contact you again, how they can get in touch with what you're doing. And of course, we ask them to support you. Go ahead, Pastor.
Amen. First of all, let me just say being saved is the best thing that's ever happened in my life. Then my wife, of course. Now, as I said, you can go to, I don't have my web page back up yet, but my church name is Mount Moriah First Baptist Church in the city of Dos Palos, California. If you want to donate to that ministry, to Post Office Box 564, Dos Palos, California, 93620. Or you can just go follow me on Facebook with Bruce E. Rivers. That's another story. They took pastor off my name when we supported Benjamin Netanyahu that year. They shut me down for 14 days, long before they really started all this other stuff. I think it was in 2013 or 12 or somewhere. They shut me down for 14 days. So then I created a few more pages, Men for Life, and of course, Urban Pastors Fighting or Ending Abortion. And you can go visit all of those. You can call them. Yeah, I get my phone number out, and I know it's a risk sometimes, but everybody got it anyway. 831-333-6620. You can call that number. Talk to me directly. I've been called and told off, cussed out by classmates, by family, and everything else. So I'm thick-skinned, and I like the one-on-one conversation,
right? Because
that's how we deal with each other, one-on-one. Well, and close it out with that saying, "Thank you, Al."
Well, you know what, Pastor Rivers, I'm definitely going to have you back on the show and talk about some of these other issues. But God bless you, and I really appreciate you coming on and being a part of the program.
Anytime, and bless you. Thank you for asking. God bless, man.
Of course, that was Pastor Bruce E. Rivers. Of course, he is the pastor of Mount Moriah First Baptist Church in Dos Palos, California. You can reach him. His phone number, of course, he gave out. It will be on the program. And look, there's a lot happening. There's a lot of moving pieces here. There's a lot of things that are happening that are seen and some things that are unseen. But let me remind you that since 1973, we have aborted or murdered 60 million babies. That's a nation, folks. And we wonder why we're having a shortage in this nation of good educators, good law enforcement, good politicians, good citizens. We have murdered many, many millions of babies in this country, and God is not going to be mocked. So, of course, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today. You can do more. You can help out. You can join us on the show at I may be wrong, but I don't think so.com. Please donate to the show. Keep us on the show so that we can continue to expand this out to other places. We got all the podcasts. And, of course, we really want to thank you. And as always, I want to tell you, God bless America, God bless you, and God bless our children.
You've been listening to Alfonso Ashworth, the Barry White of Podcast Radio. Go forth and share his message. I may be wrong, but I don't think so. Remember, no two people can ever occupy the same place at the same time. You were uniquely and wonderfully made. Born an original. Don't die a copy. God bless. Peace.